All right, so welcome to Coffee Cafe. So we finished all chapters from all the chapters that we need to learn, which is chapters 1 through 12, right? All of that's going to be applied through this fictitious business right here. So that means we're not done learning. We're applying all the things that we did learn from the last 10 weeks, and we're going to put it into this one project. So in this case, this is called Coffee Cafe. We're going to practice bookkeeping and keeping track of the records for how this small little coffee shop business is going to be, right? Here's a scenario. Bob Mason, which is the owner of Coffee Cafe, he decided to open up a business, and he has a total of $30,000 to start his business. Okay, so in this case, and he needs help to keep track of his income and expenses, and needs someone to keep track of his books. All right, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to start from uh, from um, from May 31st all the way to June 30th, and we're going to practice doing one whole months of bookkeeping. Okay, so this is everything that we learned. So chapter 1, right? Introducing to what a business is, right? Requiring all the license and stuff like that, information that we need. Chapter 2, dealing with the debits and credit system, right? Chapter 3, journalizing. Chapter 4, what rules and principles that govern why we journalize, okay? All of it is going to be ultimately applied to this accounting or this project right here, this class project, Coffee Cafe, okay? We are going to be using the entire 10 steps of the accounting cycle. So chapter 4, for the first 4 weeks of Coffee Cafe, right? Not in our week's time, but in this scenario week's time, okay? Is going to be, we're going to be practicing steps 1 through 4. So recognizing that a transaction has happened. Number 2, analyzing it, right? Then number 3, journalizing it, and number 4, posting it to the ledger, okay? We're going to be constantly doing that, and here and there we'll be doing practicing some trial balances. The last week in our class, right? So 2 weeks before the exam, right? We're going to complete the rest of the accounting cycle. So going through the motions of doing a trial balance, doing adjustments, closing out the books, doing the financial statements, okay? So at the end, the goal of this class is at the end of the 15 weeks, you should know how to properly bookkeep, all right, and do all 10 steps of the accounting cycle, all right? So this is the portion where it is very crucial that you pay attention. And if you don't get it, then rewatch the videos and redo this again and again and again. All right? So what are the necessary things that you need to have? So what I just uploaded on the Google Classroom here is I've uploaded 2 methods that you could keep track of your books. Now, in this case, we are doing manual bookkeeping, okay? So if you are familiar with Excel, then here are the Excel files, okay? Now, what I mentioned in here, if you actually click on the Excel files, is I say that these um, files are going to be used throughout the entire project. So that means you only need to open up these files, and that's it for the rest of the 5 weeks that we're doing this project for. Okay? Now, that is only if you're very comfortable using Excel. Okay? So here, I'll give you an example of what each Excel sheet will have. So, for example, the first one is the general journal. You're going to get the calendar, so you know exactly when things happen, when you need to schedule things. Okay? Second thing is you're going to have a chart of accounts, so you're able to do your journals, right? You can't do your journal without the chart of accounts. So here are the list of all the accounts that you will need for this project, right? You have the general journal, right? So in this case, you have the space that you need to properly journalize your transactions. So this is the whole purpose of this class, is to teach you how to bookkeep, right? So here's all the journal spaces, and you should have about 27 pages of journal spaces, okay? You also have a check register, so we will be writing a lot of checks out to practice, managing your checkbook, okay? And we also have things like deposits, right? We need to deposit our money in order for us to have money in our banks. And also we have some purchase orders, right? So purchase order forms. So when we purchase things, right, we keep track of them so we can continue to proceed with our stuff. Okay. Now each file is going to have multiple pages on there. So you have the general journal, you have depreciation tables, you have the financial statements. Okay. You also have a copy of the general ledger, the subsidiary ledger, and inventory. So everything that we learned from chapters 1 through 12 is going to be tied up all up in this one project. And here are all the worksheets that are going to help you do. Now, if you're not comfortable with Excel, do not worry. I've also made it flexible enough for you to also utilize Word document, okay? All you have to do is just print them out, or if you want to type it into Word, that's completely fine as well, okay? Here, I give you the chart of accounts, right? So each week by week, though, since every document is going to have a different thing that I need for you guys to have, right? If you choose to do the Word document, you're looking at anywhere from 100 to 200 pages max if you're going to be printing all of this stuff out, okay? Because for the Word, for the Excel, right, I have multiple sheets in multiple documents. That's the same thing here. In this case, I have to split it up because it's going to be too heavy to open, and then you don't want to keep scrolling up and down 100 pages of materials. No, so I broke it down so you are going to be looking at a lot of more pages that you're going to be downloading. But here you have the chart of accounts. Here you have your check register, deposit slips, and things like that. Okay, and every week you're gonna have a set of journals, because again, in the Excel, I'm able to put up 27 pages of the journals in here. In this case, it's going to be a week-to-week basis. So the first week, you only need maybe 2 pages of the general journal. The next week, you're going to get the next 3 pages, and then so on and so forth. So again, a lot more, easier to manage, okay? And you also have the general ledger here, and the subsidiary ledger, and here's the scenario. Okay. So this is the scenario, right? That gives you the introduction and everything. So what the purpose of this scenario is, we're going to go through each item here, and we're going to go through the business transactions and ask ourselves, is this something that we need to journalize? So what I'm teaching you here is to become the bookkeeper, okay? So again, every week I'll be posting different documents that are tied up with that very week of scenarios. So if you choose to do Excel, which I do encourage because I will be using Excel, okay? So I'll be flipping through a lot of different documents. So that's why it's very imperative that if you do end up using the Word document, you may fall behind, because I will be moving a lot quicker because I'm using Excel, okay? So it's up to you. Like I said, if you feel more comfortable with Excel, or if you feel more comfortable with Word documents and you print them out, it's up to your discretion, okay? So again, every single week. Now, 1 week to Coffee Cafe could be to us, maybe 2 days. Okay, so that's why I dedicated the last 5 weeks of class, just so then we can, just so then we can go through the materials and take our time to figure out, is this something we need to journalize, because we're going to analyze through the whole thing. Now, the first 2 weeks of Coffee Cafe, I'm going to be the accountant. You guys are going to be the bookkeeper. Okay? I'm going to be showing you how to journalize. I'm going to show you how to do all this, but at the same time, ask you questions, because, again, you guys are ultimately going to be the ones that's going to be bookkeeping for the future. Okay? I'm going to teach you how to do it for the first 2 weeks. And then the 2 weeks after that, so week 3, obviously I'm going to ease you in there, but week 4, week 5 is going to be your responsibility. You're going to tell me what to do. So we're going to flip roles. I'm going to play the bookkeeper. You guys are the accountant. Okay? So what that means is that, so I'm going to show you the first 2 weeks of Coffee Cafe, how to do this, how to analyze a question, how to go through the 7 steps of transaction analysis, and also how to go through the first 4 steps of the accounting cycle. Ask these questions. Why do you need to journalize this? And that's how I'm going to mold you guys. So then when the last 2 weeks of Coffee Cafe is something that we have to do together, you guys are going to tell me how to journalize. And I can tell you whether that's correct or whether it's not correct, okay? I'm not going to leave you stray, so you guys are going to be always constantly going through the scenarios with me, and I'll correct you if I need to, okay? So that is the responsibility. So it is very, very important that you do not fall behind. I will tell you this. If you fall behind, you will not be able to catch up for the rest of the class. Okay? So you need to be on top of your stuff, and you need to pay very close attention, because a lot of these things is wrapping up everything that we learned throughout the last 10 weeks of class. So I'll be asking you questions that you may have learned in chapter 4. So you need to pay very close attention, because this is what the ultimate goal is. You need to know this stuff so you can do this for the future. Okay? If you don't know this stuff, that's where you need to go back and review. Okay? Because this is here's the last thing I'm going to tell you. The very last thing that is going to be the final exam. It's going to be based on what you learned on this project. Okay? So if you can't do the project, then you're not going to do on the exam. So that's the whole purpose of spending the next 5 weeks, to get you to the point where you get comfortable journalizing and you get to comfortable doing this on your own. Okay? That's the goal, right? That's the purpose of this class, is to teach you guys to become bookkeepers.
So
Right?
today I need just to download this form.
Correct. You just need to download everything. Not everything, but it depends on which one you're doing. If you're going to do the Excel, download all of them. If you're using Word, you're going to have to download every single week.
No, I like Excel. I
Okay.
am very good with Excel.
Okay, that's fine then. Then we can go ahead and do that then. Okay?
And do I need to do anything? I just download it or I start to do something?
No, no, we're doing this whole thing together.
Okay.
That means every single day of class, we're going to go through the scenarios together. Okay? So again, each scenario, so for example, right here, on Friday, May 31st, Bob's friend told us about a project, or told us about a bankrupt business, and we decided to go ahead and purchase the business. Now, this is the question where I'm going to be asking you, is this something that we can record? How much are we going to record? What are we recording it as? Right? Are you going to record it as what? You need to use your chart of accounts, right? You have to use your chart of accounts to figure out how are you going to organize your ideas and journalize it. Okay? So that is Coffee Cafe. So that's all there is for homework tonight, is to make sure you download whichever files that you're downloading, and so on and so forth. Okay? Um, and all of these are going to be recorded. So again, it is very imperative that you don't fall behind in class. All of these recordings, They're all done in class. That means, is there really homework? No, except for if you don't want to understand what we just did, review it. Okay? Catch up if you couldn't catch up. Okay? So, yes. All right? Okay, so we're going to officially start this tomorrow. And yep, that's it.